7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, we're live once again on a Sunday night, hanging out with you, bringing you Funko news. That's our objective tonight. And how are we bringing you Funko news? Well, we're bringing it in the form of Christian from HobbyDB / Pop Price Guide, which is one of our favorite places to track all of our Funko Pops and all of our other collectibles, to include Ghastly.
One of our former favorite places.
Whoa, Heather, please. Let's go easy on Christian tonight. So Ghastly is on there on HobbyDB.
Yeah, thanks to Craig Matthews.
Craig Matthews, he hooked us up. Yeah,
all the time.
Very good. Yeah, putting pins, figures, all sorts of stuff
Stickers,
on there. So
prints,
a big shout out to him.
Yeah.
Before we get into it with Christian, I want to mention that our hooded sweatshirts are up on MischiefToys.com, so go over there and pre-order yours now. In addition to that, DIY Ghastly is on the website, and we're going to have a huge, what's it? I don't want to call it a giveaway, but like
custom contest.
Custom contest. Yeah, custom contest that will go down. So if you do not have a DIY Ghastly, you have not started your custom, get started now, because that'll happen after New York Comic Con. We'll do a live. We'll do all sorts of fun stuff here. It's going to be awesome. Go to MischiefToys.com and buy your DIY Ghastly and pre-order your hoodies now. Also, earlier this week, we put up a bunch of like old shirts for purchase. You can buy it right now, and we'll ship those out right away.
I don't like to say old shirts because that makes it sound like
old
they're
new.
old
new,
like
old
you,
new.
and like not appetizing, but they're very appetizing.
Remember that if you go to New York Comic Con, you're going to want to wear your merch, be it the shirt, the hooded sweatshirt, the hat. That will give you the opportunity to buy a very special pin that will be very limited. Each day we'll have brand new pins. One of the days we'll have 2 pins. So make sure you get your merch now so you're prepared. All right, so there's all of our Mischief Toy stuff. I just shot out like a shotgun right in your face. We're here with Christian. We haven't seen Christian here on the channel in quite a while, so I'm so glad that you're back, Christian. How you doing? Uh-oh, he might not be able to hear us.
He can hear us.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Christian, turn up your mic. Can you not hear us? What's going on here? Oh no. There we go. Christian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Perfect. Okay, I've been talking. You didn't hear us because I muted you. Okay, Christian, hello, welcome from Poppin' Off Toys. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's something we need to mention. Poppin' Off Toys right now. If you want to bid on a Ghastly Proto, you can go to Poppin' Off Toys right now. I don't think you're going. I don't think many people will, but it is a Uncle Sam Ghastly that right now is at $1,400.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so if you want to go and bid on it, you can.
It's
and you
less
can win
than
an
1
awesome
hour left. Additionally, he does have other pieces that he's going to be putting up. I would imagine throughout this week.
Yes.
I'm not quite certain, but I know he definitely has some really cool stuff. Christian didn't get to hear my
your slight.
My slight against
sorry,
him.
Christian. Heather was being very crappy. But are you joking or are you being serious?
Okay. It depends on what happens here tonight.
It's better that we have a discussion about it first. So Christian from HobbyDB / Pop Price Guide, Pop Price Guide come on, let's talk about that, right? Just off the bat, before we get into questions, Pop Price Guide is huge. I mean, to the Funko community has been huge for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian, you come in later, right? So you came in kind of at a later time to Pop Price Guide. Am I correct in saying that?
2015. So Pop Price Guide was founded by John Hamm, similar to what we were doing at the same time at HobbyDB. And he had a bunch of volunteers, and they built this in WordPress. It's a platform, technical platform. And we talked early on, and everything, I don't know how long you go back, but everything was one page. Pop
Yeah.
Price Guide was just one page.
I remember.
And it was beautiful because everything was there, but the page became longer and longer and longer. And eventually, if you had a big collection, if you had 500 items in your collection, that was a big collection at the time because there wasn't that much out there, then your page wouldn't load at all. So
Wow.
he was self-taught, and he reached out and saying, "Can you help?" And then we said, "Yes, sure, we can help." And we fixed the site. It took 3 days. It was off for 3 days. We fixed it, and then he said, "Look, I don't want to do it anymore. Why don't we do it together?" So we did it together since then. And Pop Price Guide is basically now HobbyDB, with the one difference that it only shows Funko items.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, HobbyDB is huge. I mean, you're able to track like all sorts of collectibles, and as we mentioned before, you were on mute at the time, but Mischief Toys items are on there. Thanks to our friend Craig Matthews, he's tracking figures and pins. Anytime something's added in the Mischief Toys group on Facebook, if you're not there, go and join. He'll basically add it on and say, "Hey, this has been added today. So if you purchase this, you can go ahead and add it to your collection," which is great. I mean, great for Mischief Toys.
Yes, we have about 15,000 brands on the site. Mischief
Wow.
Toys being one of them.
That's a lot.
There's also other sites. There's Amiibo Price Guide, and there's Brooklyn Models, and which I like. Pop Price Guide. They just, that particular brand. If you just like that, then you can just go there.
Sure. Interesting. Yeah, so Pop Price Guide has been something huge for Heather and I, specifically to track our collectibles. And so, not track our collectible, I'm sorry, track our collectibles, but knowing our full collection value, which is huge. But you've decided to make some major changes, and a lot of people, this broke like huge news, right? Where Funko fans are like, "What is going on?" We're all taken aback at one time, where the news is announced that in order to see your collection value, you now need to subscribe. And not only do you need to subscribe, but you need to subscribe. You need to subscribe by Monday, or Monday you're going to have to start subscribing.
No, you don't have to subscribe on Monday. If you don't subscribe Monday, you subscribe on Tuesday. The data's there. It's always there. You don't lose anything.
Right. So
Just don't see
your
it
data
on
your data's still there, and that's great. That's great that the data doesn't move, and we also have access to it if we decide to subscribe today, or next month, right, or 3 months from now. So that's good news. That's the real good news. So my first huge question is why was it announced and it happened so quickly? Like the time frame is a very short time frame, and there's a lot of people out there who are using this database, and I would say specifically right now in this moment, a lot of people are using this database in order to sell their collections, because a lot of people, from what we can tell and from what we see in our community, that a lot of people are getting out of Funko generally. So why right now? Why is it now?
The average life cycle for Funko collectible is 3 years. For Redline Hot Wheel, for example, is 7 years. So yes, Funko is a shorter-lived life, and quite often actually people come back and collect Funko again. So yes, there's always more people selling Funko product than others. And yes, we have over the years been asked so many times to help with collection exports for insurance reasons, for this and for that. So we did recently release. We released Premium months ago, and maybe I prepared a few slides for you. Maybe I just share those, and then we can just go through that in sequence. So can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, some time back, said, okay, we'll do this premium thing because people hated the ads. There's a little more background. We lost contract with Funko. We had a big contract with PSA for grading, and then CGC decided not to grade Funko Pops. They disbanded their teams, which meant PSA didn't have to advertise with us anymore. So there was a little bit of background of that. But we'd always, and we had a choice of adding more ads, and nobody likes us. So we said, okay, fine, we'll just do this premium thing. We released it 4 weeks ago. It had no ads and no selling fees, 0 fees, which you don't get anywhere else. And then we added collection export to it. So if you want to sell your collection, you can export it, you can send it to somebody. We did something new called the gain and loss report. If you report how much you pay for something, it will show you the difference of that to today. We added recalculate value anytime. We're also calculating the price guide now every hour. It used to be every 24 hours.
Wow.
We've added something called member estimates. I explained that a little later, which is an awesome tool if you use it right. And then we started doing this. We came out with some exclusives. We're doing this guy here. And we're doing a sunburn version of that. I don't have it yet, but it's coming next week. We're going to do Abominable Trump as well, early access, 72 hours. We wanted to create this club, but it didn't really work. So we decided, okay, fine, we just got to add to it what people will want to have, which are these things. Because to make it work, so we can do more development and add more data, because that's really what I care about. I care about documenting every collectible ever made. I care about accurate data. I care about pricing. We didn't remove the ability to manage your collection, your wish list. We just removed the ability to share it with other people, because we feel if you want to do that, you can pay us a little bit of money so we can do a better job in this database. And the reason why we do it quickly, every time we did a change, it's a nightmare. If we announce it a month before or 3 months before, we get death threats on this. I mean, people are just going bonkers. Not many, but enough to be concerning. So if we announce this 4 weeks in advance, there is no gain, because nothing will change, right? I mean, if you want to move somewhere else, move somewhere else. If you don't subscribe, you don't have the collection export. There is nobody who can import it anyway. So there is no change if we do this on Monday now or Monday in December.
Right. Well, let me just interrupt for a second. So, who would you suggest are your competitors? Do you have a competitor? You don't have to name them. You don't have to name them. I'm sorry.
No,
Do you have
competitors.
competitors?
There's the Funko app.
Yeah, but the the Funko app, the backbone was Pop Price Guide, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Funko app has a nice interface on us. It's easier to do it for just one company. We are working on it. I think they have a nice interface. It's slightly faster than us. So they are and yeah, that's where you go first. Right? If you collect Funko, that's where you go first.
Yeah,
I think
but it's
that's
garbage. Their database is garbage. I mean, I'm just you don't have to say that, but I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know that there's sticker variations. They're missing a lot of those. They don't have autographed items. They don't have a lot of stuff. But if you just collect Funko and you just want to know what's out there, it's not bad. There's other sites out there. There's obviously people go to eBay if they just want to find out what something sells, and that's not bad. I mean, if you have 2,000 items, you want to know what your whole collection is worth. That's a little harder to do, because you got to do 2,000 times. Plus, some price points are just not there anymore, right? I mean, if it's a rare item, you don't always see them. I mean,
Well,
I don't think.
But that's why I would suggest that's why you need Pop Price Guide, right?
Exactly.
Right, because you guys are offering something that the Funko app can't. And so I'm going to go back to my original question where I say who are your competitors? And my suggestion is you don't have any. And the reason why I'm saying that is that you guys are tracking a bunch of different values here. And you found the secret way in which to do it. Funko decides we're pulling out and we're going to do our own thing. Well, that tells me that they're not going to do the right thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they haven't done the right thing in terms of that for a really long time, right? So, in other words, what I'm getting at is I do not trust Funko and their app it's directly coming from them. So for that alone makes me not really want to trust them, because what if Mischief Toys made their app, right? We make our app and we say, here's the values of all this stuff, and we just astronomically put. And I'm not saying Funko's doing this, so I'm just saying from our perspective, if we just said, oh well, all these things have these values associated with them, it doesn't look good. Is my point.
It's weird.
So knowing that the backbone was Pop Price Guide for the Funko app, I'm like, that's awesome. I love that. I love that, Funko is working with Pop Price Guide. Well, then Funko all at once says, you know what? Screw this. We're getting out of it. We can't afford this. What do you mean we can't afford this? Their whole business is the backbone of it. I'm using backbone a lot. Is the values of the collectibles, right? So a lot of people get into Funko. There are multiple people I've talked to in my time of collecting, and I'll say, well, I collect this, that, and the other thing, and right now this is valued at this, and this is valued at that. That turns people on, because it seems like it's a quick way to make a buck. Right?
Even if you're not making a buck, it feels really cool
to have something that.
Yeah,
but let's
you
just say
spend $15 on something, and it's worth $100.
But most people hear that and they got dollar signs in their eyes. That's just how it naturally happens, right? So
Well,
that's what calls people.
Yeah, I think it's also like, if you buy a Hot Wheel, a mainline Hot Wheel, you pay 99 cents a Target. It's okay. It's consumption. You pay $8 for Funko Pop or $10 for Funko Pop. Maybe you pay $100 for it. You want to make sure that money is not lost.
Christian, if I told you right now you could go out to Target and you could buy 3 Funko Pops, and those 3 Funko Pops are worth now $50 per instead of $12.99 that you paid, are you going to go buy those 3 Funko Pops? You're going to try tracking them down?
Yeah, I'm a flipper to an
100%.
extent.
Exactly. That's the point, right? So the value means a lot for Funko. Now, when you mentioned that Funko breaks away and they're no longer a part of Pop Price Guide, as soon as you said that, and by the way, I just want everybody to know that behind the scenes, Christian and I sort of talked a little bit about this, but I never came out publicly and mentioned it, because it wasn't the right thing to do, and Christian told me that it was something that he was still working on behind the scenes. So I've done this for quite a while. Now, when I learned that, Christian, I'm just going to be very clear and frank with you about this, and I'm sorry for my coarse language, although you use the coarse language on your website, but Funko is going to fuck this up. That was immediately my first thought, is that when you put it in their hands, they're going to fuck it up, because quite frankly, over however they've been doing this over the last, year, 2 years, things have just since the pandemic. So what's that? 4 years has just it's like we're riding a roller coaster. And right now, in terms of watching even our views down to likes and down to comments and everything else, Instagram, all those things, I'm noticing that things are way low right now. And what shocked me about this whole change, by the way, your slides are beautiful so far, and I want you to talk through them, so I'm sorry for interrupting. But it really shocked me that you were taking, at this moment, you're making this change. Why not make this change back when things were at a super hot hype time frame, right? And my question in our video, this is a multi question multi-answer question. So why didn't you do it a while ago? And additionally, what was my second question? Shit, I had it and it's gone. As to answer that question, I'm going to come back. But why didn't you do it before?
I don't know. We didn't think about it before. The idea of moving to the subscription came from the outrage on the ads. And, we've spoken to many ad suppliers. We needed to somehow replace that missing income. And we looked at more ad suppliers and more ads that pop up and do this and do that. And then you have that fight with people having ad blockers, and then get around that and tell them not to use it. And there's this whole industry around it. And we looked at it and we're like, we didn't really want that. Or at least we want to give people the option to not have that. And we said, look, we're going to do an option where you pay us a small amount of money and then you don't see ads. So we don't make the money that way, you make it that way. It's a little bit like your patrons, I guess. And that's how we started with it. But it didn't really have the impact that it needed. And so we're like, okay, what else do we have that? Yeah, and I'm sorry, but it's just a little bit mercurial. What else do we have that that people are willing to pay for? And it's that, right? I mean, we wanted to be the site where you can find out what exists. We now have 55,000 pages on Funko. There's 1 million pages on other collectibles. We want to show you what it's worth. That's there. You can manage your collection. You can manage your wish list. But if you wanted some value added things like, well, how much is the whole stuff worth? And how much is and I want to show my stuff off to other people. Well, then you can pay us a little money so we can do this, and then we can do stuff that people always ask for, like for example, having lists and value of lists. I mean, it would be nice for Heather, for example, if she can see, okay, here's the value of my Ghastlies, right, compared to my value of my Funko Pops, and how do they do? How do they do differently, right? Or here's my Disney Funko Pops, and here's my Marvel Funko Pops, or whatever you like. So there's a lot of stuff that we'd like to build. I'll talk a little about that. We're coming out later in the month with trading, so you will be able to say, hey, I want to trade. Here's something I have. What do you give me? And what do you want to give me in return? Here's my wish list, etc., etc. We call it active trading. And passive trading is where you can say, who has this thing that I really, really, really want? And then you can reach out to them. Passive trading too is the opposite of that. You've got something that has a value, but you don't really need it. You have two of them. Like, okay, who can I flip this to for something that I really want? So there's a lot of stuff coming there. Then the estimated values for lists, I think that's going to be powerful. Combining estimated value charts. That's something I love, where you can say, show me any chomp ever made against every chomper, or every glow in the dark versus any bloody Funko, or something, where you can just have your theories and then look at the data and see what happens. And there's a bunch of other things that we want to do, and this will help us to do that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So let me ask you a question before we go further. So with Funko being a couple years ago on an uptick, and now things are obviously falling apart. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. And I'm
yeah, actually, I don't see that. What I see is
Really?
we have similar amount of Funko traffic, but it's different. I think what happens is a lot of people that have been in it for a long time, you had some kind of completist, and so I think there's a change. There's many more buyers, but they buy smaller quantities and they don't follow it as much. I also feel a lot of people have separated out. We see a lot of people that had only Funko, and now they have, I don't know, some Super 7, some handmade by robots, some Ghastly, something else. So I think there was this trend a little bit, you got in Hot Wheels, right, where people only have Hot Wheels, so they've also buy other model parts. I think we have that more and more with Funko, and I think that's their mistake. They made that happen. People dabble in other stuff. There's lots of other cool stuff, and so I think there's much more of that now. There's less people that have 10,000 or 8,000 or 5,000 Funko Pops. There's more people that have 50 and 100 or 200 other things.
So in terms of HobbyDB and Pop Price Guide, let's combine them. Do
Yeah.
you find that you have more Funko, a larger Funko community than you have of anything else, or is Funko equivalent or lesser than some of these other communities that are built on HobbyDB?
No, I mean, Funko is very important for us, but the usage pattern is really different. Funko people, Funko collectors care very much about the value of their collection. A Hot Wheel person, much less so. We have a big community for hardware pin collectors, also much less so. It's partly because they don't sell as much. I think a Funko, in general, a vinyl art collector, there's a lot of other stuff like Tiny Ghost and so on and so forth. I think they are much more oriented to buy and sell. Most of the traditional collectible subjects, and I put Hot Wheels into there because it's now 60 years old, they buy stuff. They don't consider selling as much as a Funko community. So that's, I think, the main difference for them. Pricing is much.
So you see more movement with Funko.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, nobody else asked me for a single click to remove something from the collection, but it always comes up when I talk to Funko people. You know, I think Funko collectors have a much faster pass through of items.
So when Funko comes to you and says we're no longer going to do business with you, what's your thought? What was your first thought in that moment?
Oh shit.
Something like that. I speak German, so it's the German equivalent of that. But yes, yeah, scheiße. Something like that.
I mean, did they really pull the floor out from under you?
Funko is never a very easy company to work with. We have relationships with 200 companies, you know, and from the get go, others were definitely easier to work with.
So
Always.
so it sounds very similar in the same vein as the smaller companies that we talk about, right? So the smaller Funko shops, they all started up right when Funko was like starting to go up that, I don't know, like that roller coaster, like they're climbing, and then Funko just says fuck all of you, right? And that screws up all these different little Funko pop shops, and now here PPG is one of the innocent bystanders in the whole thing. And so the thing about Pop Price Guide is that you guys weren't actively out there trying to make money out of this. It was more or less you were providing something to the community for free, frankly. I mean, right? All this whole time, none of us are sitting back and saying, "Okay, I got to pay my $5, $10, $20 a month fee to Pop Price Guide for all the things they do." Instead, it's a free service. So I'm going on Pop Price Guide and I'm using it at will. Me as well, right? So I go on Pop Price Guide, I track my collection, and in fact, I used it to track a collection to sell it, Christian, to sell it. I was making money, and you're not seeing a goddamn cent out of it, right? I mean, and this isn't like me being pro what's happening. This is me saying I understand what's happening. I get what's going on. But I think the biggest issue is that it is a goddamn shocker when all at once it's, well, now you got to pay for these services. And the services that you are offering in your subscription are heavy. I mean, we're not talking about like little tiny things. We're talking about the things that make up Pop Price Guide and what make HobbyDB and Pop Price Guide like as important as they are in our lives. But I think what it comes down to is trying to explain it to the audience, to the collectors, trying to explain to them why this is happening. I think the why is the most important part.
Yeah, I mean, we just need the money basically. There's there are probably about 100 other collection management software packages out there. There's one for, do you know Department 56 Christmas ornaments?
No.
They make little houses, Christmas houses. You see them around Christmas. They've been doing them. The Hallmark, the little Hallmark things they put on the Christmas tree. There's a software for them. It's $30. We looked at about 100 packages. Everything is $30 or more. Some of them are 100, some of them are 60, some of them are $30 a month. We felt that $30 will get us. We want 10, 20,000 subscribers. We think we can get there with that. That gets us the money that we wanted, that we need for the plans that I just partly shared with you. There's much more that's planned. And if we lose a few people, that's okay. I mean, we want to make sure our data is accurate. People will always come for it. When we made the change from the old pop price to the new one, we had 3 months of hell. Because the new thing wasn't as good as the old one. It's totally true. But you can't maintain two platforms. It just doesn't work. It's hard enough to maintain one platform and develop it and improve it over time. So we knew that we get a lot of hustle then, and we did. But people came back, right?
Sure.
I think the same thing will happen here now. People will always come and check their prices. If they don't show that, and frankly, if somebody wants to sell the collection like you did, you can subscribe for 1 month. It's $4.99. You get a CSV. You can send it to, I don't know, $7 a pop, and Isaac and some other people. Whoever wants to buy a collection, right? You can send it to them. They have it. You can also hand it to them. We have a digital transfer option where you can say, here's all that stuff digital, so it's easier for them to sell it. That's $4.99. You can unsubscribe, right? Because if you sold the collection, there's no point keeping the subscription. So just become a premium member for 1 month, pay $4.99, get this, sell your collection, move out of it. Later you want to come and collect something else, well, you can become another premium member or not. You can also just manage it free.
I mean, I got a really great idea for you, and it's just in my head. I'm not going to say it here because I don't think it's good. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But I'll make a note of that. But Heather, I think you have a bigger question than that.
I do. So Christian, after we made the video on HobbyDB and our initial thoughts, we had a lot of people commenting, as well as I, of course, checked social media and a bunch of posts all across social media about the changes that are happening. And I think that the biggest complaint, other than, well, why is a previously free service not going to be free anymore, which you guys answered very well in your FAQ, a lot of people were complaining about the inaccuracies on PPG. And I understand a lot of it's volunteer based, but a lot of people were asking, well, sometimes fake sales get added into real sales. And what happens when a heavily damaged Funko Pop gets sold secondhand for a much lesser price, and then that is tracked in PPG? Do you have any sort of thoughts on that? Is this going to be made a bit more accurate, you think? How do you plan on, I guess, working past this?
So we allow everybody to flag a price point if they think
Okay.
there's something wrong with it. We get about 30 flags a day.
Okay.
It's pretty consistent. We institutionalized a rookie program. So when you join the squad, you're now a rookie, and a rookie can add price points, but they have to be checked by a mentor and approved. So we've done that. We've done a lot of other stuff. I think what happened was COVID hit, Funko prices went through the roof. Items that weren't really anything special, that 20, 30,000 run went up to $50, sometimes $100, $150, particular early days. And what we do have, and what we're solving at the moment is when there's an amazing price, anything that's over $200, $300, I think is pretty accurate on HobbyDB or PPG. Price points get added immediately. Anything that's $10, $20, there's much less interest in the volunteers to do it, and frankly, there's also much less need. If it stays, if it was $10 last year, it's $10 this year. If our last price point is 2 months old or 6 months old, doesn't really make a difference. But what did happen during COVID, there were like hundreds, maybe even a few thousand Funko Pops that were produced between 2021 and 2023 that came out, was traded much higher than they should be, $50 to $150, and then dropped a lot. And we did what we call the sheet, where we said, give us every price point where we don't have a price point for the last 3 months. And then just went through those methodology by looking at eBay, Mercari, first eBay, then Mercari, then StockX, trying to find some price point for it. So we've added a few thousand price points for those. And if you had a 20,000 Funko collection, that will have shaved up $2,000 or $3,000. That price correction that was there in the market that we did delay because of that incentive disalignment. As a volunteer, you want to deal with the high value stuff. So we have that gap in the mid market where it's important. It's not important for a $10 Funko Pop, and it does not happen for a $500. It was the ones in between. And that's where we integrate, I would say, between January and about July, August. And we've done a very concerted effort and spent maybe about 1,500 hours. Somebody brought on board for that and changed that. And that did a big difference.
So the big reason why things changed with Pop Price Guide is that Funko made a deal with eBay.
Yes.
That's what changed everything.
Okay.
Does eBay try to make your job harder?
eBay has always done that, and there's other things. I mean, for example, we just found this is now a thing. So this guy who's own toys sells good stuff. He has 4,500 Funko Pops, all say damaged in the title. We excluded those.
Interesting.
And then we looked at it. Well, why does he do that? He does it because when you say damaged, you can't get a return. If you don't say damaged, you can get a return for any reason
Oh
on it.
wow.
So he now says damaged every single time. And you look at these. This is a $1,500 Funko Pop, and this is a rare one, right? It doesn't sell very often. So we want that price point. But in the past, we just wouldn't use it because it said damaged. We automatically exclude it. Now we just added the ability you can put a comment in there. So, because if that was added to HobbyDB, it would get flagged within 2 seconds, and then we have to deal with it. Now we just explain says damaged, but is near mint or better, and which allows us to get these 4,500 price points. Every time a marketplace changes, we have to change with them. Take Macari, right? I mean, Macari just did this change where now, as a seller, you pay no more fee, but the buyer does. Same as in other auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's, they invented it in 1973, but different, new for the Funko market, right? So what do we do here, right? I mean, that item there sold for, if you sell something for $100, well, the buyer pays $110 because there's a $10 buyer premium now. Should that be part of the price or not? We think it is. We think it should be. So we're just going to change that now, probably the next week, where if you add a Macari price, we're going to add that to it and we'll explain it. We'll say, this is a Macari price. The seller got $100, but the buyer paid $110. So we determined that's the market for that item. Because otherwise everything drops down by 10%, basically, right? So there's some changes we have to make to the catalog. And we have 80 different price points. So there was an eBay change, there's a Macari change. We just brought this thing in. This is called the member estimates. That only is for price points. That's for items that don't have any transactions, like this thing. This came out, and somebody thought it was $25,000. I don't know. I remember I had a conversation with the buyer of the golden ticket before he bought it. We had it marked for $15,000 because that was the only transaction that was ever happening, that we knew of. And 2 months later, he buys it for $100,000. Right? So we don't really know.
Yeah, I remember that. We're talking about Grail Monster.
Yeah, Frank. Right. So I mean, if somebody would have said this is worth $50,000, we said you're nuts. But maybe it was. Right. I mean, and who knows? There's only 4 of them or 10, whatever the number
Depends
is.
on how much somebody's willing to spend, right?
Yes, yes, and so this here, for example, shows you the power, I think, of the crowd intelligence. Because yes, you got a 25,000, you got a 500, 200, 450, 500. So we'll just show you all of that. We show you what does that. So there's constant changes in the marketplace for what we have to do to get the pricing better. And I think Heather, most of that unhappiness was 2 things. This has been the first time that there was a Funko correction. It's a little bit like you in the stock exchange, and you were there, I don't know, around 2000, and everything tanked by 100 and 200%, and you had never seen in your life. You got a shock. I think for most Funko collectors, this had been the first correction that they ever noticed.
Right.
We had so many people saying that. I mean, I had conversations with people saying that cannot be. Funko prices never go down. I'm like, well, no, you're wrong. I mean, everything goes up, comes down eventually. And that's what we're seeing now. So people had a real problem understanding that the Funko market has a correction here.
It's interesting because you had mentioned earlier that you guys, you're not seeing the changes that we see from like collectors, right? So we see it from the ground level. We see collectors saying, we're getting out of Funko. We don't want to be a part of Funko anymore. We're done. But you guys are seeing this change every like 3 years.
Well, the average hold period for a Funko collectible in our system is 3 years. But what I think is happening is there are less people that are saying, I only collect Funko, I buy nothing else. I mean, you're part of that trend, right? Because Ghastly sells to Funko collectors. So does Tiny Ghost and the Wonderful Toys and a lot of these other things, right? I mean, Mighty Jacks, that's selling to Funko collectors. we've seen the same. This is an M2 model. That's a $6-7 item that sells to Hot Wheel people that used to pay $1. So I think that's a natural trend, and Funko hasn't helped that. So I think they lost more people, and what we're seeing is more people coming in that have a themed collection. Say they like Batman, or I don't know. I like the advertising icons, for example. I could see myself buying more of those. So I think we're having this versus just Funko collectors. I only collect Funko, nothing else.
So one thing that really threw me off, and I made a joke about it earlier, and I know this might be very tiny to a lot of people. Why did you, in the write-up that you guys sent out for people to read, why did you include the F word in it? I was wondering about that. It was I totally understand how you could be attacked in this, and how it it doesn't feel good. But let me just just ride with me on this. We
Sure.
get, if you saw our help was it help@mischieftoys.com, we had somebody basically tell us they wanted us to die. Okay. And this isn't the first time. We've seen this on multiple occasions. We've seen a lot of people really just be nasty to us. Mischief Toys aside, Gasolcast. I mean, we've had people where I had to call the police, right? Because we were afraid of what they were going to do. They were making these really crazy threats. So I understand being attacked. I really fully do. But why use that the coarse language? And I know it's stupid, but it's really weird because for me, a person who uses the word fuck on a regular basis, by using it in the write-up, it just seems so low rent. It bothered me actually, because I'm reading it. I'm just like, why are they doing this? It's really weird.
I'm doing it for the following reason. I find that when you have conversation on social media, a YouTube channel or Facebook conversation, people just become crazier and crazier. And what happens is that people have a perspective on it, saying, well, I don't want to get involved. This is getting too ugly. And I feel that sometimes I have to say, look, this is a hobby, and this is a hobby. This is a free service. You guys have to calm down. It needs a few people to interject and saying, let's not go totally nuts here, right? I mean, we've had people saying they want to kill themselves because they can't see the value of the collection anymore. I mean, it's just crazy how people react to this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah,
and I wanted to call it out and saying, look, and I've seen people saying this is not right, and therefore they get involved in a group, because you don't really want to get in a group discussion if 10 people always said this is awful, this is terrible, this is the worst, etc., because there's really normally little gain in it, unless you feel compelled to do so, and that was the idea.
Yeah. Somebody's talking. I have no idea what your side convo is, because I can see something's going on. Were you guys ever tracking Whatnot sales?
Yes, we are. So we want to get every price point we can. The only thing that's important to us is what I call audibility. You got to be able to check that it happened. You can see an old eBay transaction. That's why we don't do Facebook, because there's no proof, or Amazon, there's no proof. But anything that is a proof, we'd like to do. When Whatnot happened, somebody suggested, hey, we should do it. We looked at it. We said, okay, fine. We start with Toy Cabal and with Chris Savage Pops. Because, what you want to have is, you want to have an environment where there's proper price finding. So there need to be enough people in the room. And those were by far the biggest Whatnot channel for Funko Pops. So we started with those. And the idea is we have a team of 2 filming the whole thing, taking snapshots of every transaction, checking that the item is near mint, and then adding it by hand on HobbyDB. It's a lot of work. It takes 7-8 hours per show for Chris. Darius then dropped out. He doesn't do Toy Cabal. They don't do Whatnot anymore. So we've replaced it with 2 other channels, and we're looking at some rules. We have a very extensive documentation under help.hobbydb.com, where there's a big page that explains everything we would do and whatnot. And now we're looking at, okay, what's the rule? It's probably going to be 100 people in the room at any time, unless there's a giveaway. giveaways just draw people in that don't really
Yes.
buy. So 100 people in average in the room, and at least 2,000 feedbacks.
Yeah.
2,000, so that we know that that those are real transactions.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I absolutely hate the fact that you guys are pulling values from whatnot. I think that's horrible, and I'll tell you why. So the reason why I think it's horrible is that if Heather and I, okay, if somebody in this comment section right now, they're just Joe Schmo, they go on whatnot right now and they try to sell something, um, whatever Funko Pop. How about Art the Clown with Glasses? They go in there and they try to sell it. They get $15 out of it. Heather and I go in there. We have a louder voice. We are on YouTube. We are like, people will look at us and see us almost as like we're internet celebrities, which we are absolutely not. But there are some people out there who believe that we are. They will pay more to buy it from us because they believe that we're celebrities. So they'll spend more money in order to get that Funko Pop. I know this is completely beside what
No,
we're
no,
talking about,
you have a point there.
that's one thing so whatnot. For a long time, we had a real big problem with whatnot. I don't really talk about it anymore. I don't care about it anymore. But I think that's a huge issue when we're talking about what the value of Funko Pops are, because somebody might spend more money buying it from me than random Joe Schmo out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, and maybe that they did it for Chris Savage. I don't know. We are just going. So we do these experiments, and then we test them. In fact, next week we've scheduled an exercise where we're going to look at the 50 transactions from the 3 channels we're using. And we're not doing Darius anymore because he's not there anymore, so there's no point. So we're going to do the 3 channels we've done, and then we're going to compare that against eBay, Mercari, and StockX. Also, because we want to know, there's a lot of views on StockX, so we want to see what's happening there and our estimated value, so we can have a look and saying, okay, with that data, is there a trend? And and then what is that trend? So that we can then make more informed decisions. But basically, Whatnot is a channel that sells a lot of very rare items. We don't really do it for common items because there's no point. It's a lot more work. We can do it eBay and Mercari and so on and so forth. But anything that's rarer, like the one that's on the screen at the moment, we'd like to get every price point, because some of them don't have had price points for a year.
Yeah, that makes
Themselves,
perfect
right?
sense.
And
Again,
then
the problem with this is I hate to go back to it, but it depends on who you're buying from. I mean, it really does. You may spend more money if you're buying it. Like, look, I'll put it to you this way: you might be able you buy it if you buy something from Top Pops, as an example. It's just the fact that it was in Top Pop's collection at some point,
And
right?
not just that, but he would likely have a larger audience than our
Yes.
next door neighbor.
That's the issue with I know we're
yeah, but we don't
beside the
do low
point.
ball. I mean, we only do 3 channels. We're very cautiously about which ones we
Right.
select.
Right.
We're doing the study now, and the other thing I would say is, whenever you look at a price, so let's say, let's say you look at the gold ticket. We only have 3 price points. One is $15,000 from 6 years ago. One is $100,000 from a year and a half ago. We have a video for it, and the other one is $210,000. Right? So we have 3 price points, but we show you what these price points are and who done them, and you can check. So let's say, Chris Savage sells a limited 12 or a limited 500 Funko Pop, and it sells for 500 more than the last one 6 months ago. We show you all of that.
Yeah.
What you need to do is, when there is a rare item that sells and we only have 6 price points, you should look at the 6 price points. Yes, look at our estimated value, absolutely, but then look at what's that makeup. And if it will say this was owned by Top Pop,
so
it will say that.
there's a question here, and they're saying Andy Blanco, which is not. I'm glad that we got comments and questions coming through. Not valid. How many YouTubers, TikTok stars are selling a whatnot? 4 to 6, maybe. Well, that's bullshit, because there were a ton selling. Maybe YouTubers that you're not aware of. In fact, if I remember correctly, there was a football player selling shit on there and selling it at values that didn't make any sense.
Yes.
And it was really screwing things up and spiking things and doing all sorts of stuff in terms of what the value is of a certain product. So I would suggest that, Andy Blanco, I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that what you're saying is shit. What I'm saying is that I think you're a little off here by saying that. At one point in time, there were a ton of YouTubers doing it. In fact, I think it stemmed YouTubers. It created YouTubers so they could eventually sell on whatnot. Because Heather and I, we always stood by that I would never secondhand sell you shit. I'm not going to go and sell Funko Pops to people. I'll give them away. When it comes to Mischief Toys, as an example, it was our business that we grew ourselves from our YouTube, right? So we built this business, and it's a business that's really important to us. And we give most of the stuff, we give a lot of stuff away on there as well. So I would never, I have, I don't know, it's been probably 5 years since I've sold a Funko Pop. Would you say that? It's been a long goddamn time. It was something that I vowed that I would never do. I never wanted to be a YouTube flea market. It was important to me. But I know there's a lot of people out there.
We haven't done any YouTubers, right? We have done Toy Cabal and Chris Savage.
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's good to know that.
And Toy Cabal is now out. So we are trying 2 channels. We have 100 price points. And now we are doing that work of, and we're going to share that. We're going to share that on PPG. We're going to say, here's our comparison of the last 100 whatnot price points we've done, maybe 250, something like that, compared to eBay, compared to StockX, compared to Macari, where we can, compared to our estimated value. So because we want to know, it's important to us. I mean, for example, we just said, okay, when somebody does a giveaway or a show is just giveaways, it gets so busy. It looks attractive, but it's not, because then they leave again, right? So whatnot is an interesting, difficult channel for us. It does sell some rare Funko Pops, and we do like that data. And you can always tell who sold it, which channel, where, when. And if it was a whatnot transaction or Mercari or we do Yahoo Japan. I mean, we do 80 different price lists. We tell you which price list it is, and if it's a valuable item, you should look at it. You should study. That's why we show it to you, right? And you can click through if it's still valid. You can see it there. We do take a screenshot for whatnot, so you can see the screenshot. Because it's all about giving you as much data as you can. If it's $20 item, you can take our estimated value, just run with it. If it's a $5,000 item, check it out.
Let me stop you there for a second. So how important is that data, though? And I'm not trying to be confrontational about it, but how important is the data from, again, I'm going to go back to it. Andy Blanco is saying he watched Applesauce live all the time, and the stuff was not blowing up in price. It was hard there sometimes, and he is awesome, so on and so forth, look, I don't know. I can't say much about what Dr. Applesauce was doing, so I'm just going to kind of put that off to the side here. But how important is the data if somebody like me, right? What if I go on Whatnot today, which I would not do, but what if I did? And I went on and I tried to sell a Funko Pop that is a common, let's say, or actually you're not tracking data for commons, right? But I sell like something that's an exclusive or something that's kind of rare, and I get like $500 more on that pop because it comes from my collection. How is that data important to you? I guess that's my question.
So we talked about this earlier. This is the golden ticket. Here, this is what we call team verified. Team verified. There's a team of 18 people, and if a transaction gets reported that doesn't have a digital footprint, you can't check it, then we ask both parties to send us information, and then it gets added here. And this is super important for pops like this. I mean, if you click on Funko and just look for the most valuable items, most of the transactions are private.
Right.
So let's take this guy here, second most valuable Funko Pop. Let's see. So $48,000. So you can see last transaction 2022. Before that 2017, and then this transaction 29 September. And you can see here we've seen the bank statements, we've seen everything of that transaction. This happened. It's an important transaction. Move from 32,000 to 60,000.
Yeah.
This is a red chrome Funko Batman that's worth $20. Well, we wouldn't even bother. It's just not worth it. So it depends on the item that you sell. And if if you sold it and there's 20 other transactions and you charge $500 more, it doesn't even creates a little blip in the estimated value. But if yours is the last sale and there's no other sale for the last 2 years, well, we'll take your price point. We'll say, Chris sold this from Gasselkas, and then people can, you see the estimated value here. It tells you when it was last calculated. And if this is a valuable item, I would say $200 above, go down there and look what we got.
Yeah.
Don't take it for gospel, right? I mean, as I said, it's a $20 item. You just take it as read. But a $2,000 item or a $20,000 item, you should check. You should look at all these transactions and see if you agree with them, because it's really a base for discussion, right? I mean, this is 2022. Who knows if that's now worth $100,000 or $20,000? We don't know.
So basically, you got to do a little bit of your own homework, which is true, and I understand that.
Well, we just give you all the data. That's what we want to do. We give you all the data, and I mean, obviously, this sums up in your collection, et cetera, et cetera. If you have it, if you're lucky enough to have this, then it's in your collection value. But if you want to transact on that, you should do a little homework.
Have you noticed Have you noticed an uptick in people subscribing since you made the announcement?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Wow. Huge.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, if you told me the number right now, would it overwhelm me?
No, it wouldn't overwhelm you, but it was every day more than what we had before. So it's definitely going the right direction.
People buying Are they people buying a year, or are they doing monthly more?
It's been changing, but I think it's about a third each, roughly.
Interesting.
As I said, if you want to just export your collection or just check it out, you can always do the $4.99 and then move to the $29.99, because it's obviously better economics if you want to stay longer.
Sure. Yeah. Heather, you have a question, and I'm going to pee while you're doing that. Okay. I'm going to pee real quick.
All right.
Okay.
So first, Christian, I want to make this very quick. Could you please list the 3 channels from Whatnot that you are actively tracking, and additionally, was it more than just those 3 in the past?
No, maybe there's 4. I don't know. Let's look.
And I'm talking about Whatnot. I'm sorry for not clarifying.
Yeah. No, I got that. So I just got to look at it quickly. Where is that?
You're still presenting. I just want to make sure you're aware of
that. I know.
Okay.
I have to find this page. So, in general, we're trying really hard. Any question you might have, or any question we get 2 or 3 times, we put in our help, our knowledge base. So there's tons of stuff here. So this is what we're doing with Whatnot. It just talks about how we're doing it and why we're doing it and how they're getting added and what the quality standards are and so on and so forth. I notice it doesn't say the 2 other channels, and I don't spend much time on Whatnot. This is handled by a team of 6 volunteers. So I'll make sure we'll add it tomorrow to this page.
Great.
And, basically you can just go to our knowledge base and type in Whatnot, and then it should tell you the answer. Here it is. It tells you all the price points we're using, and every single one of them is explained. So there's retail price, there's member estimate, there's various auction houses, there's all the stuff we do. We're also telling you what we don't do. We don't do Craigslist, Facebook, and Amazon, because there's no auditability. You can't check it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because there is someone trying to argue that it's more than 3. And while I understand that
it might be 4, we may have tried another one. I don't know. We're experimenting with that, and we are doing it on a very small scale to figure out if this is something we want to do in a bigger scale. It's super manual intensive. There's no. You gotta screenshot every single one. You gotta check them and so on. The team that does it, run by a guy called Chet, they're fantastic. So it's hard to scale in that regard, and we are worried about 2 small channels. Got to be a large channel. Got to be enough people in the room to make it work.
Yeah, and I think they also have to be reputable, because otherwise you might have someone trying to sell a fake or whatever. And
that's why I'm saying 2,000 transactions, right? I mean, so we always like to have rules that we can put out there. At the moment, the idea is 2,000 transactions, 100 people in the room anytime, outside giveaways. So those are 2 rules. we've got a list of, I think, 30 channels, and I think only 5 or 4 qualify under those rules.
Wow. That's fantastic. Um, so sort of to piggyback off of that, because I did mention fakes. I know I sort of answered this or asked this question before, but I don't remember you saying anything about fakes. You did mention that any sale can be flagged, but does your team actively look out for fakes? Are they trained on
Absolutely.
this, or
Yeah, no, I mean, so we have a Facebook group. We have one for the volunteers in general, and because Funko is so specific, there's a specific one for Funko. There's about 300 people in there,
wow?
and there's constantly discussion on fakes. And we also brought in what we call the fake photo. I'll show you very quickly. This is not a political statement, but I know his one has one. So the fake photo is something we've started doing new. Come on. It's here. There. So when it says fake image, what that does is you can look at it, and it's trying to explain what is something to look out for. There are other fakes of the Donald Trump Funko Pops, but the most common one is missing the word "the vote" down here.
Interesting. I did not know about that.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, because we obviously don't like this to happen. In fact, again, I don't want to be political on this one, but I had got a good laugh because we now have 7,000 autographs, and this one has an autographed item. It had 2. There were 2 subvariants of that autograph, and one actually was an autograph on a fake Funko Pop, first of all, and then the autograph was fake too.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
But it was funny because it was by Alec Baldwin, and he did it because
Oh my
he
god.
placed Trump in S&P. So we were like, this is almost something we should keep because it's not just somebody signing as Trump. It's the guy who posters him in the TV comedy. Anyway, and we removed it because it's fake. We talked about it and said, no, we're going to remove every fake.
Oh my god.
That's so funny.
So yes, I mean, if you ask me about pop price guide in the beginning and pop price guide today, and there was only eBay. There were only like 2,000 products. eBay gave us all the data. There was no best offer. There was no other marketplace. It was easy. Now we got 55,000 Funko products. There are tons of other marketplaces. Every one of them has their own complexities, buyer's premium, whatnot. You just name it. And there's tons of fakes, and it's just not one. I mean, Donald Trump, there was this one fake. Now I understand there's others, and we need more photos of it. It's a constant fight, right? So, yes, there are every now and then fakes, and that's why we have the ability to flag them. Every page has flags for the page itself up here. And then every price point has a flag. So you can flag this price point, and it will basically say, what's wrong with this? And then it will go to our flag squad, and they will review it, and then they will make a decision and let the person know.
That's awesome. I really love that feature because, again, like you had mentioned, this has been a free service for so long, and the people that input these prices are volunteers. They're not getting paid. So, the incentive for heavily looking at eBay sales versus trying to just input what they can might be occasionally overlooked. I don't want to say, nobody's going to do work because they're having to do it for free. But realistically, I think, being a volunteer, you might get that more often, if that makes sense.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I believe the Mars rover was using open source software. Open source software is also volunteering, and you get some of the best developers in the world.
Okay.
We've got some people here that lawyers or other. I mean, they have great jobs. They just love the fact that we do this, and that it's done properly. You can see, for example, there's a full revision history. You can see who made a change on that page. People love that this is a very robust system where they can manage what their area. I mean, if you and you can tell on their pages. So if I, for example, this lady here, you can see she has so far added 4,000 items to the database. She's verified 400 subjects, 700 items. She's added 14,000 prices, 12,000 images, and she doesn't like ratings. She's done 36 ratings. She's responsible for all these locations. And
Wow.
here's some of her badges that she earned. She's part of the flag squad, so she helps with flags. She's done more than 100 flags already. She does our record days. We have a monthly record day for our volunteer force, which is kind of a fun thing. We all get together and do stuff. She has the guinea pig. She did the car show record. It's a good community of people that enjoy doing this, and they're very, very thorough. We did have, you may have asked me, we did have some bad apples. We had about, I think, 7 cases so far where we had people that came, joined to manipulate. Maybe they didn't initially wanted to, maybe they did later. One of them, there were 3 people working concert, the other 4 were singles. And what we do is we look at flags, and if everything you do increases the price of something or decreases the price of something, right, more than statistically it should be, well, we have a team of other volunteers, they're called the untouchables, because nobody knows who they are, and they're looking at it. And then we have found people trying to manipulate stuff, right? I mean, it's
Wow.
in fact, the most complicated one were the 3 people that worked together to manipulate a specific Funko Pop. It was 50, and they brought it up to 250. They sold it on eBay to each other. They actually sold it, and then they reported it. And it wasn't just one guy, so it was a little bit harder to find out. It was 3 people that were doing it,
Oh my
and they must
gosh.
have bunkered, I don't know, 100 of them. I don't know what they did. Right. But we kicked them out. We did find it. So yes, you have that every now and then. We haven't had one for the last year, and we're watching out for it because there are bad apples out there.
Absolutely. Andy
Interesting.
Blanco, Gascast and whatnot 2025. Hell no. We have a good business with Mischief Toys, so we would never do something like that. That's not our style. If you've been watching us long enough, you would know that. Heather, you had a question in regards to the volunteers.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Christian, because you are always so kind and so wonderful to us and so patient with us. But I found something out the other day after we posted our video because we read your FAQ, some of your FAQ on our video that we had posted. And in your FAQ, it says, "What about our volunteers?" And it says, "They are excluded from this change." Can you explain to me what that means? What do your volunteers get? Do they get premium for free?
Yeah, they get that showcase for free because we felt that they wanted that. We everything on the site is technically speaking is a privilege, and if you're a showcase, we treat our 3 audiences slightly different. We have shareholders, we have volunteers, and we have subscribers now, premium members. So the volunteers will get the showcase. This change that's happening tomorrow is not going to affect them. Good for them. They don't lose something, and if somebody feels that they can't pay $30 a year, then they can become a volunteer and
Okay.
help building it, right?
So then there may be a mistake on your website because it appears that your volunteers are being offered 25% off. So I don't know if the 25% off.
That's for the premium. So the premium includes the showcase, but they have the showcase anyway.
Got it. Okay. So that would be for the additional added benefits.
Yeah,
So
the
the
other benefits they want to do. It's the same thing. Like for example, that first access to exclusives, we've given that to our shareholders because we promised it to them. So our shareholders get first access to exclusives and get a discount on those as well, if they are premium member or not.
perfect. Okay. That clarifies that. Thank you very much.
So I'm sorry, I'm lost. So what do they get?
They get the showcase for free.
So the volunteers don't get everything.
They don't get everything, no, but they do get a discount on
Is
the
there
other
is there a
things.
reason why? In other words, if they're putting in their time, right? You have people that are putting in like a lot of hours, and they're doing it absolutely for 100% for free, right? Craig Matthews, as an example. Let's just talk about Craig Matthews, and not that he's telling me to mention this at all. It is not Craig Matthews who shared any information with us. I'll tell you that right now. But the fact that Craig Matthews puts in information, he compiles data, he does all these great things. Why not for free for him? I don't understand. And here's why. Look, I'm not trying to be a dick about this, Christian. I
No,
promise.
it's okay, Chris.
But,
I mean, I have an answer for it
but,
anyway.
but
So
you have
we,
you have folks who are putting in a lot of time and effort
we do.
on their own without they're doing it completely for free. And I will tell you this right now. I personally am not. I wouldn't do it, and it might make me sound horrible, but I wouldn't. They've been doing it for free for so long, so why not just get them their account?
So I mean, I help Wikipedia, for example, same kind of system as here, right? And but the idea with our volunteers is we have always planned to develop what we call an activity measurement, like how much do they do? We have 2,500 volunteers. Some of them have been very active in the past, and then something happened in their life and they moved on. Other people have never been that active. Some people are very active on point, and then less, and then more active. So the idea is to measure that, share it with them, and then have a cutoff where we say, okay, well, you will be free for premium.
That makes sense. Now that makes sense, because if there are people out there that are bullshit artists and they're saying that we are volunteering our time and they do nothing and they're just a volunteer.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that would be,
2
Chris.
minutes.
Right? Who could that be, Chris?
No, me. Totally understand that. No, I totally get that.
I mean, it's also. I mean, we've always known. I mean, I did have a person. I haven't seen him for a while, but he works on an oil platform. So he was off for 2 months, and then he was on for 2 months, and he was there the whole time, and then he was gone for 2 months. Until I asked him, said, "What is happening?" And then he explained to me. So I think volunteerism is something that has to be right for you. You have to be the right type of person for it, and it also has to be the right circumstances. So we know that some people left for a year or two and then came back and did a lot, and then sometimes I leave again, and that's perfectly fine. So we just want to say, okay, as a little thank you, we'd like to measure it. B, people like it, because you can see a ranking and so on and so forth. We have a little bit of that in our curation dashboard that you can see when you're part of the squad, but we want to do more of that, and then share that with you. I mean, like we said, we have a record weekend every month, and it's a lot of fun. We're trying to get to 50,000 points. A new database item is a point. It's a new database item is 5, and a price point is 1, and there's always good fun. It's Saturday, Sundays.
So Craig Matthews says it's actually fun to be a part of the squad. I highly recommend joining, and it's a great way to make sure your most important items are kept up to date, which is great. Craig Matthews keeps Mischief Toys all together.
Craig is one of the nicest people I know.
He is unbelievable.
He's so kind.
Roland Roach says Craig is awesome. Zachary Stone says Craig always does a fantastic job. And Chad M says, I agree, Craig. It is fun to be a part of the HDB team. So Chad M is also a part of it. Yeah, so they're doing the Lord's work, so to speak. They're putting in their time and efforts in order to make HobbyDB and Pop Price Guide better.
What we could do is, what I always wanted you to do is, let's do a HobbyDB Ghastly, because it actually will be first available to the squad.
Yeah, you know what? I'm open to that. I am way open to that. It's something that we can certainly discuss. I know our time frame in which to get these things completed. It takes time, but here's what I would suggest. If we sell a Ghastly, you would have to sign up, and you'd had to be a subscriber in order to get it. It would be a very limited amount, and it's something that we will discuss behind the scenes, and I will make it cool as shit, because there will be a reason why you would sign up and subscribe to get this particular Ghastly. Or maybe it'll be Mortem. I don't know. It could be Mortem, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. I think we could do some really cool shit. And look, it could be a regular thing. We could do it on a regular basis. We could do some fun stuff together. I'm always about that.
Great.
That's what we do. That you talked about experiments and stuff like that. We're big into all that. Heather and I experiment Mischief Toys things on a regular basis. And one thing that we're about to experiment, or we're going to try to figure out, is a Patreon for Mischief Toys, which I think is going to be huge for us. I think it'll be huge for not really us per se, but the Mischief Toys community. Yeah, I think it's going to be huge for the Mischief Toys community. They're going to be a part of something that is so different and odd and so off the regular collector spectrum. It's going to be really great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, so let me ask you a question. Are we getting, and I don't know if I've already asked you this or not, because we've asked you a slew of questions. Are you seeing more negative feedback than positive feedback in what the changes that you're implementing?
Can I just say before you answer, Christian, that people who are negative are more loud than positive?
That's true.
I was just going to say that. I mean, I'll give you an example. So I used to run 15 collectible forums. toycollector.com, Planet Diecast, Wings 900, Model Train Forum, Slot Forum, etc., etc. And at one point in time, we had hundreds of people that wanted us to change a feature, a dark side, like white on black.
Yeah.
So we built it, and there was a toggle. It's called "Go to the dark side." 2 people did it. There's and when you do something that people don't like, you hear from 1,000 people. You hear from 10 people that feel it, that know you and feel for you. Like Craig reached out and saying, don't let this let you guys down. But you hear from the people that don't like it, right?
Yes.
Right.
That's okay. I guess that's just the internet. It also has this escalating effect. If somebody doesn't like it, then the next person doesn't like it, the next person doesn't like it. And then somebody who doesn't mind it or thinks it's actually a good idea doesn't really want to get involved because you're just getting attacked.
Yeah.
So you're not getting involved, i.e. that discussion is just off the rail, is into a negative land. Everybody who doesn't like it just doesn't look at it.
Yeah, we have experienced that with the channel specifically. Discord and Twitter are really negative places for some reason, and I guess negative people just sign up for accounts on both of those forums. But I have heard from a handful of people, I have only watched one video or I have not watched any videos, but I do not like you based off of what I saw in that one video or based off of what somebody else said. So
get that a lot.
Yeah, the negativity effect is really an interesting thing. The internet is a gift and a curse, and it's easy to see negative feedback and take it to heart.
We've had people that have watched one video and they disagreed with what we had to say. And that one video has changed their entire outlook about who we are as people, and they have effectively gone on a complete disparaging tour, and they'll hate on us, Mischief Toys, Gasolcast, anything. Heather and Chris, they will demolish us in any way, shape, or form that they can because we decided in a video that we didn't like a specific Funko Pop. Yeah. It's gotten down to that. I mean, as silly as that may sound, I know one person who disparages us in every way, shape, capacity, form. It's like on Mischief Toys specifically, they just fuck us up every single time. That person, by the way, I'm not the type to sit around and talk shit. This person is nuts. I mean, they are fucking crazy. They are. But you have people that are out there that are like that. But I think what's going on with Pop Price Guide and HobbyDB, this is a long time coming. Like, this should have happened a long time ago. Why haven't we been paying for this service a long time ago? I know it sounds ridiculous, but come on. I
agree, because I don't, like you mentioned, Christian, there are a lot of complaints about ads. And there's so many paid services. So, like, for example, you can watch YouTube with ads, or you can purchase YouTube Premium and watch it without ads. How much does that cost you a month, Chris? YouTube Premium?
$11, something like that.
$11 a month.
Yeah, let's just say 15. Because I can't remember.
So one thing that I hate is ads. And like I just mentioned, there's so many services you can pay for without ads, but you're paying for it. So they're not getting the ad revenue from you, but they're getting some sort of revenue from you because they're not giving you ads and you're paying for it. I think that is going to make the website so much better, much less annoying and agitating.
Yeah.
$30 a year is nothing. That's less than $3 per month. And for somebody who regularly uses HobbyDB, whether they're selling, whether they're buying, whether they're just tracking their collection and they want to see the value of their whole collection, if they want to sell their collection and they want that total and they want to be able to share it, I mean, that's a fantastic deal. And I love what you said towards the beginning of the interview. You mentioned, you know, people can watch our YouTube channel, but if they want a more premium experience, then they'll also subscribe to Patreon. And I can say, I've said this multiple times on this channel, it is no secret, YouTube doesn't pay shit. And in order for us to
Especially now with Funko dying.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out well for us. We make nothing
not
now.
as much drama in Funko as there used to be. Not as many like hot pops. So it is hard to create Funko content, especially daily. If we were a weekly channel, that would be much easier. But a daily video, it's difficult. Patreon helps us immensely. I can tell you something. If it weren't for Patreon, I would not sit here and spend the amount of time that I do every single day of my life recording videos, researching for videos, if it weren't for Patreon.
I mean, well, not only that, but look, I think a lot of people miss. We're talking about us, but
No,
which is what we do. We have a boner for ourselves. But,
we do.
But the fact is that much like what HobbyDB does and Pop Price Guide. And look, I'm not trying to put you guys on a level below us, but what you guys do is like God's work. But we come on here every day. We make videos. We do all these different things. We work hard. I mean, Heather and I, we sit in front of the camera, and is there an act a part of it? Yeah, sometimes. I mean, we're a little bit different than who we really are, you know, on this side of the camera. But you put in all that work, and then it's like, Jesus Christ, like, how do you do that? I mean, we're not Mr. Beast. We're not, you know, Top Pops, right? We're not those guys. I don't know what they make, by the way, so I don't want to be attacked over that. But, you know, we put in the work. We do all the things. The Patreon really helps us, right, in terms of membership. And so it makes me wonder and here's the biggest issue. So it makes me wonder, why are people having such a hard time with it? Because I've seen already so many different comments. But in addition to that, with Funko not doing as well, I kind of understand where people now would be like, I wouldn't pay for that.
But less than $3 a month.
Well, no,
I
get it. No, I get that. I get that.
Coffee.
I get that. But people aren't into Funko anymore.
Yeah.
So some people aren't into Funko, so they're like, "Why am I paying $30? I'm getting out of it."
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Well, then just pay $4.99 and get your sheet and get out of it.
Exactly. So that's my point. Look, Funko is not dying. It's not dead. It's not going away. Funko is going to stick around for a really long time. It's really just sort of hanging out through the ups and downs of what Funko is up to, right? Here's my personal opinion. Do you want to hear it? Everybody on board with me right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm about to say it. I think Funko Fusion is going to change a lot.
I think so too.
I think Funko Fusion will come out, the new video game will come out, and I think you're going to implement a broader and larger fan base. I think it's going to make Funko even larger. I'm just saying that now. You can go back to this video later and tell me I'm right or wrong. But I think Funko Fusion is really going to change a lot of things.
I have friends who are not collectors who are video gamers, and they specifically collect collectibles from their favorite video games because they're their favorite video games. And I think Funko Fusion has the potential to become a fantastic video game, a video game that is talked about in so many households based off of the demo that we played recently. And I think that the pops that they are creating are killer. And I'm really excited to see where that takes Funko, and I'm curious if that's gonna affect the premium side that that you're gonna be able to see, Christian, because I do think it's going to breathe a new life into Funko.
Well, let's hope so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we all want, right? I mean, in terms of like a YouTube channel that talks about Funko, we want to see that. But look, if it means that we have to stray away and turn into something a little bit different, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
Because Heather and I are dynamic. And if we sit around and talk about Mischief Toys every single day, I can do that too.
I can too, but we also don't have 50
we don't have that much
products
going on, right? Exactly. We don't have all that going on.
So we do have a very interesting question, Christian. Thank you to Dave T for asking. He said, if I become a paid member, can I view other people's collections, or do they have to be paid members as well?
They have to be paid members as well.
Okay. And then I had another question that was actually asked as well, but I had it written down prior to that, so it makes me feel like it's not a stupid question because other people are wondering it too. Because sometimes I don't understand things as clearly as I want to, and I'm like, is this stupid to ask? So I'm glad it's not. I see that you are implementing the trading with the premium service. And there's multiple tiers of trading, multiple types of trading. How is that going to be backed while using your service? Because I would imagine there would be some sort of liability if a trade doesn't get completed properly.
So what we're going to do is, I mean, collecting harks back to that was what collecting always was. When we were kids, I had different trading cards to you. I was in Germany, but we traded trading cards at school. I assume you did the same. We traded little figures, and other stuff with others. I mean, that's, I think, the essence of collecting. And what we're going to do is you have people vouching. You can have people vouching for you. In your showcase, I can vouch for Chris. Say, I know Chris. I think he's good for a trade. And then if the other person that wants to trade with Chris knows me, you can take comfort from that. We're going to go down that road. We're going to do down the road of social proof. How long does this person have been a member? What is in their collection? Have they added anything to the database? Have they done any volunteering? Who do they know? Who's vouching for them, et cetera, versus we looked at escrow models and all that kind of stuff, and it's all good, but it adds time and expense that nobody wants to do. So I would suggest, trade with somebody that you feel comfortable in, trade with somebody that you don't know for a $10 item. And if you know them well and they have people that you have in common and they vouch for them, then you can trade for a $100 or $500 item. So that's how we're going to implement it. You will be able to see a lot about that person. You will be able to talk to them, see how long they've been a member, who they know, who trusts them, who endorses them, and then make your decision based on that.
No wonder you guys need this funded. That is huge. That is a lot of work. That cannot be inexpensive to run. And thank you for doing that and making it a safe space. Now, I have a follow-up question to that. How are you going to vet the vouchers? Do they have to have had a transaction with the person they're vouching for? What if someone comes in and they've never traded with anyone, they make a new account, and it's like the guy's mom, and mom's like, oh yeah, that's my baby, he's great to trade with, and then the guy's a shithead and never trades anything, and he just screws everybody over?
This is a mock-up that I'm sharing. It's going to be like that. So you can go to somebody's, this guy here, for example, he's one of our shareholders. He's been a member since 2020. So you can see on the left, you can't see it, but he has a big collection. He's added a lot to the stuff. And this is going to be the vouch by section, which is next to the feedback and gallery. And that will show you who vouched for him. And frankly, the only use of that is if you know the person that vouched for him, right? If you don't know that person, it doesn't really help you. Okay. So it's a little bit of a social proof. you see it in Facebook groups where somebody says, I've worked with Tom, you can trust him," that kind of thing.
Yes.
That's what it's based on.
Very cool.
So and if you've been out there for a while and you have 5 or 10 people vouching for you, and they can remove it if they want to. You have 5 or 10 people vouching for you, and you've seen them and you heard about them, and they've been a member for a long time, and you know somebody knows them. It just helps you building up a risk profile, because every transaction is a risk profile, right? I buy from you. I don't know what I'm going to get in the mail, if I get anything, and if it's the right thing, and if it's broken or fake or whatever. It's the same with the trade, right? You just want to know as much as you can about the other party, and then you want to make a risk-based assessment. As I said, for $10 item, if you want to defraud me, go ahead. I buy a $10 item on the marketplace, or I trade without really much research. But if it's $100 item, it hurts. I'm going to do my research, and this is going to help in that regard.
I have a question. So now that you're asking for a dollar amount from people for a month or a year, how much marketing are we talking about here? Because this is word by mouth, right? So this is myself talking to a friend and saying, "Oh, you're getting into Funko now. You should check out Pop Price Guide." And that's sort of how this all grew, and the wildfire happened, right? It doesn't look like you guys have a super Instagram presence or presence really anywhere other than Pop Price Guide. Are you looking into kind of marketing and furthering it that way?
Well, the one thing that we believe is going to happen is we've already had a lot of people that came on board. Is that people like different aspects of the subscription. Some people saying, "I hate the ads, I don't want to see them, that's worth the money." Other people might say, "I want the showcase, etc., etc." But we also had a lot of people that joined saying, "I just love 0% fees." I'm just, and we have seen people adding tons of items. I think the trading will be big in certain segments, like pins and postcards and things like that. But I think that there's also a point for Funko people. The ability to see who owns that particular item that you still want, and see their wish list, and then go to them saying, like, "I really want this. Are you willing to trade against one of these 2 or 3 things that I have? I can see that on your wish list." That makes for a potential trade. It makes for a potential new acquaintance, friend, a collector friend. It just does a lot of that. So I think we'll see a lot of that. We have a Facebook integration for our marketplace and for our trading, so you can use that. You can put that in Facebook groups and use that more. I don't think we're going to put a huge amount of money into social media or marketing in itself.
Interesting. Okay.
We want our people to do that, and go. I mean, because if we just had somebody who added another 1,000 items for sale, and I've seen them going out for saying, "I'm selling you now. Here's my stuff."
So we're still in the word. We're doing word by mouth. We're not doing any marketing. We're doing word by mouth. I mean, it's worked for you this whole time. So why would you change it up? I get
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the change will be the marketplace, right? Because now you're paying nothing. I mean, yes, you're paying your subscription, your premium membership, but then there's nothing afterwards. So you want to sell as much as you possibly can, right? Versus selling on eBay or Mercari, where you pay between 12 and 25%. This is zero.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's the biggest angle. But knowing your value of your collection, just to know yourself without selling, buying, or anything like that, that's very important to some people,
Well,
right?
and then I mean, I know you kept some of your stuff, right? If you can separate your lists out and saying, like, this is stuff I want and this is stuff that I might sell, and have separate lists with separate values, I think that's going to be very powerful. That's something we want to do.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I can say for 100% fact we would use that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
we want to do much more in terms of statistics. We want to do estimated values for loose items, because some people like those. We want to do estimated value for graded items. We want to do the ability to create your own lists, and then compare different types of items. That's what I really want to do. I want to just go out and saying, what's better, glow in the dark or bloody? Right? I
Are
mean,
you?
as a
Interesting.
treatment, or Chrome. I think Chrome is better. I like Chrome, but just treat them against, just check them against each other. It's like, is Marvel better than, or take House of Dragons? Is House of Dragons better than the predecessor series, or which one is the most valuable Disney franchise? Whatever rocks your boat, you can come up with a theories and you can test that.
That's very cool. Very interesting. I like that.
So I do. we sort of started here, and I just want to ask you a question. It's a yes or no, and I really just want an answer to this. Are you seeing a downward turn with Funko product? In other words, people, you're seeing less people on the website for Funko. Is that a yes or a no?
No, I
Okay.
see less for I see less hardcore collectors and more people that are new or that Heather, you mentioned people that like Minecraft or particular anime series. I see more of those people. I see more people that are saying, I have everything of that character, and Funko is a big part of that.
Interesting. Oh, that's cool. That's cool to know. By the way, if Funko Finders is here right now, Dish Trackers, any of those guys are watching this, you should be sharing this because we're getting real information here about Pop Price Guide, and I think this is important for the community, and to not share it outward, to everybody, so they really understand to the very smallest level, but what's going on here. I think this is a really important live. This might be the most important live we've ever done.
I think so too.
Really, because we really are getting an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes. You guys collect data that no one else knows, and I think that is so important to the Funko collector. The fact that you're not seeing a downward trend, you're seeing are you seeing an upward trend, or is it just the same? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's mostly the same. I mean, it's a little bit harder because I showed you earlier we have 54,163 Funko products as of this morning. So it's a little bit hard to aggregate. But I mean, for example, there's a huge trend to autographed. I mean, like autographed is such a big trend, and a lot of people saying that's all I buy now. I don't know if you remember in the past there were these little photos that they had in the lobby cards. They were
Yeah.
and they got autographed. This is the Funko is the successor of that. So I see a lot of people that just collect those. I think what we're seeing is the same as, I mean, take Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels 60 years now, right? And there's some people that only collect red lines. That's 68 to 1972, 1973. There's people that only collect black walls. They were made in the 80s. There's people that only collect some of those special series they're doing. We're seeing the same thing. The Funko is splitting up. You can't possibly have all of it. It's way too much. B, so you have to somehow get a theme to your collection, and I think that's what happens. Is people that only collect Grails. I think those will hold their values. Anything that was produced 500 or less, I think is going to do well. Particularly as Funko doesn't do any of that anymore, kind of. So that will stay well. I think you've got this land of the undead in Hot Wheels. That's everything that made in the 1990s and the 2000s. You're going to get the same here. You're going to get everything that's between 2019 and 2023 or so. It's just there's a lot of production, and those are going to be $10, $20 items. They're not going to move. They're not going to become more valuable than that. And you get more people from the outside saying, as I said, I want every one of this particular character. I want everything Disney and buying that. But they're not going to buy the sticker variation. They are not going to pay $300 more for a San Diego Comic-Con sticker versus a common sticker because they just want that item.
Yeah.
100%. Heather, you have questions?
I do. Well, this is actually something I wanted to ask a little bit ago, but Chris sort of took over the conversation.
I always do. Go ahead.
But we just talked about the sales, and you said that there will be a 0% fee. How is that possible? How do sales work on HobbyDB? Because I've never made a sale on HobbyDB. And how can you afford that? Because there's always a transaction fee. Are you linking the people up so that they can trade their PayPals? Like, how does that work?
So let's say, Heather, you buy from Tom. You select 3 items, you put them in your cart, you go to the checkout. That gets you over to PayPal. You pay Tom, and Tom gets paid directly via PayPal.
Now, what happens?
It's like what eBay used to do.
Okay. Well, if Tom is only accepting goods and services, isn't there some sort of fee that
Tom will have to pay a PayPal fee? Yes, 2.9% plus 30 cents.
Okay, but there's no selling fee. I think
we don't charge any fee.
10%.
And if you can also you can mail Tom saying, hey, I want to pay your friends and family, or if you wanted to, or you can say, send me a check, or we don't care. I mean, you know who Tom is, you know what's in his collection, you know what he wants. You can talk to him. We don't care. We're not getting involved. We're not doing this monitoring your private messages or anything like that. We frankly don't care. We offer a full-fledged checkout, so you can select 3 things, you can pay for them, and then hopefully they come to you. You get emails when they get sent, you get tracking, and so on and so forth. It's a full-fledged marketplace. But you can also shortcut that if Tom wants to save 3% and you trust him enough, then pay him via whatever, Zelle.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. So it's similar to say like Facebook
It just
buying and selling.
yes, but Facebook charges you when you use Facebook Market. It charges you 10% if you use their checkout. You can use our checkout and have the PayPal, guarantees and so on and so forth, and goods and services, and you don't have to pay us if you're a subscriber.
Cool. That's very good to know. So we actually had a question for you, Christian, in the comments, but Craig actually answered it. And this is very interesting because I was very excited to ask this question. So Maz Comics asked, how can we not include out-of-box or damaged boxes in the price averaging for Funkos and fakes? Craig Matthews said those price points can be added and a box check that it's a fake, damaged, out-of-box, etc. These price points aren't included in the value and keeps others from entering those. So it's tracked, but it's not tracked in the average. Is
They
that
excluded. It's estimated. It's not average. It's not average. That's very important. It's an estimated value. So, for example, an average, if you have a transaction, well, if you take the golden ticket, right, it's not like 15,000, 100,000, and 200,000. We're not taking an average.
yeah?
A more recent price point is more important.
Of
Those
course.
price points get shown, but they are excluded from the estimated value calculation. The
That's
same
wonderful.
way, for example, if you saw that Cindy Lauper Funko Pop, that currently there's no known transaction. We don't know of a transaction, so it doesn't have an estimated value based on transaction. It does have an estimated value based on member estimates, and it's clearly indicated with a red icon that that's the case. And as soon as a real transaction is coming in, we're going to remove those. We still have them, we still show them, but they're not going to be added in an estimated value because now we have a market transaction. So if an item, you can add an item to price point, let's say an eBay price or Mercari price, but you can say this is not near mint. Then it doesn't get calculated in the estimated value for the near mint.
Okay. Wow. Thank you very much.
We actually save questions. I screenshot them during our conversation. And, oh God, Heather.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Is this it?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
All right. Up.
What are you doing?
Whoa. Easy there, Heather. All right. James Wade. He asked a question. I don't know if we've gotten this already. Did we get the answer on that?
Yes. Yes, we did.
We got that? Okay. And then how about...
That's the only one that has
Okay.
not been asked.
If we have... This is asked by Tasha Figs. If we have multiple accounts, would we be able to merge our accounts?
Yes, you can. I mean, so we built this whole process. Let's say you had a collection, and let's say I have a few Funko Pops, and I'll give them to you, Heather. I physically give them to you, and then I can also transfer them to you on the site. They come into your account into what's called a transfer in list. So you can check them because maybe you don't want them. But you can transfer that. They come into your transfer in list, and then you can say, yeah, I'm happy I got them. Or let's say I mail them to you, right? They transfer in. When they arrive in the mail, you unpack them, you're happy with them, then you can put them into your own collection. So yes, you can just transfer those 200 items that you have in another account into the other account, accept them there, and then you've basically merged the 2 accounts.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Trading will work as well, right? So I'll trade something with you. I'll transfer it to you. You transfer me your item, and then as they arrive, I'll move it from my transfer list into my actual collection.
I like that.
Maz is asking another question. So is it your marketplace that's going to determine the estimated price?
No, if there's a transaction in the marketplace, that is a transaction we're going to use the same way we use Mercari or StockX or eBay or some of the whatnot channel we talked about or various price auctions. We use Pristine Auctions. We use $7 a pop. We have 80 different price sources. The HobbyDB marketplace is one of them. So if it sells it for $200 and it's near mint or better, then yes, that's the price point, and that will be reflected in the next calculation of the estimated value, which we now calculate every hour.
Very
Wow.
nice.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, anything that you're thinking about, like anything that like wasn't answered here? I feel like everything has
No,
been answered
I
here, right?
feel like we've answered at least the heaviest questions, and I mean, I've asked everything that has come up that I have felt was important to ask.
So I guess the question is, in the comment section, I would love to know: are you going to subscribe to HobbyD Pop Price Guide? I mean, that's the real question.
Hobby D Pop Price Guide?
HobbyDB Pop Price Guide.
It sounded like you merged
Oh,
them.
sorry, HobbyDB Pop Price Guide. Because it is really huge in terms of Funko Pop collecting. HobbyDB Pop Price Guide has been a part of our lives now for many, many years. I remember, look, I'm going as far back here, Christian, as Stashpedia. Remember Stashpedia?
Mhm.
A long time ago. I remember all that stuff now. HobbyDB has a brilliant app where you can click the HobbyDB app and you can scan your items, which is
Yes.
great. And
Out
that was
of-
really helpful.
When we sold a decent amount of our collection, and when I say decent, I'm talking about 600. I think it was around 600 items. I think maybe 5 were unable to be scanned. So we just typed in a name and found it on the app. But outside of that, it was incredibly easy to use, and I really loved that feature because it allowed us to put them all into that account without, searching through 100 Captain America Funko Pops. We were able to scan it, and then it just popped up.
100%. Yeah. It worked out brilliantly. You feel like you're beat up in this live, Christian?
No, it's all good. It's all. I mean, nobody likes change, right? And we are making a big change here. And the reason why I want to do a Monday because I want to move on. We will do trading later this month. We want to move on to more positive stuff. Some people won't like this. We'll lose a few. Hopefully not too many. Hopefully many people become premium members, and then hopefully doing many cool stuff like that Gaslight we just talked about.
That
Yeah.
would be very cool.
That would be cool. Are you worried that you're gonna have somebody kind of come out of nowhere and try to create their own Pop Price Guide HobbyDB?
Well, they're welcome to. It's. I don't think it pay. I mean, it's like you guys, right? I mean, you're not going to get rich on it.
I guess my point with that question, I wasn't trying to ask you a loaded question, but the thing is that you guys have put so much time and effort into this, and you've done so much work over all these years. Who the hell could who could even compete with you? I mean, no one. That's the bottom line. No one could compete with you guys. They could try. Look at Funko.
And then
look at the
I mean,
Funko app. The Funko app can't even compete with you, and that's coming directly from the company.
Well, and as you know, they started with Stashpedia and they invested very heavily into it.
Oh yeah, man? I just can't even imagine the day that they came out and said we're no longer able to work with you. I mean, at every turn, Funko just totally screws himself over. That was a horrible move for them. That app, man, they had that thing going. Everybody could track their shit and everything. It was all clean and clear and under control. And they do that. It doesn't make any sense because that effectively helps their business. How could they stop doing it? It's so crazy. I can't fathom why they would do that.
I find that there was a period of time when it was all about selling more now and not what we sold in the past. I mean, I had a number of discussions with them about stickers. I just hate the fact that they use the same these flimsy stickers on exclusives versus just spend 20 cents more and make a separate packaging, right? So that you don't have all this. You can buy the stickers on Amazon, on eBay, on Etsy, everywhere, right? I mean, you want a Comic-Con 2015 sticker, go out there, you type it onto eBay, and you will get it for $4.99, 1,000 of them.
Right.
And then you stick them on products. And the problem with that kind of stuff is somebody's new to the hobby, gets excited, buys a Grail, 2016 San Diego Comic-Con something, paid $200, $300 for it, shows it off to other people saying that's a fake sticker. Well, that person often leaves the hobby. And
Sure.
and I mean, for Funko to do that, where they know this is a problem, they have been known for many years, just makes zero sense to me because it costs so little extra to just have another packaging printed for you, right?
Okay, let's do this. Let's talk to Funko directly. Okay, Christian, we're gonna do it together. I'm being serious because Funko watches and listens to us, and we know this because we have proven it. Let's name the times that we've proven it. First off, Brian Mariotti talked very shitty about us in a boardroom meeting that we know. Well, we've had ex Funko employees tell us we changed an NFT Funko Pop.
Yes.
We've done that. There are many side stories where we have changed things when it comes. What's wrong?
Rob Schwartz, one of the founders of Funko, greeted us with "That's trash."
That's right. Oh yeah, it's trash. No, it's trash. It's trash. That's not that's trash. It's trash.
Whatever. He
said it's-
pointed at us.
You
and
don't
said
know
it's
our
trash.
own saying, Heather.
It's been
Come
a long
on.
time since you said it.
God, that's our bread and butter, Heather. I don't do it anymore because I mean I need to go back, but I
You
don't
know
do
what?
it anymore because we're trying to promote positivity.
I think what he did was I misheard him, and he pointed to us and he said, "You're trash."
And maybe he did do that. But let's talk directly to Funko. Funko, you're watching. I know you're watching the channel, and I know you're seeing Christian. I know you're seeing us, and it's very good. What you're seeing, you like what you're seeing. Look, Christian, he's got a little bit more grays than the last time that we saw him.
That's
But
because
he's looking good.
That's
He's-
because Funko pulled out.
He's
Okay.
got it. Let's not say pulled out because that's weird. But he has a HobbyDB sign behind him. This guy, we're talking big deal. Guy's a big goddamn deal now. Okay. Here's what we're saying. Funko, we need to rethink this whole thing. We got a new CEO. She's in place now. Let's make some major changes. Now, for a very long time, Heather and I said, you know what? Screw all these people that you're hiring over at Funko that are promoting your stuff like on the Funko channel or whatever, or Funko social media. Use Funko social media people who have been in place, Top Pops and all these other assholes who are out there. No,
Did you just call Top Pops an asshole?
Top Pops and all the assholes. What I'm saying is that you have all these people out there that promote Funko. Why not use them because they have all the followers, right?
Yeah, and influence.
And influencers, and they've done that, and now it's like you see influencers everywhere. So listen to us there, for sure.
We don't have proof of that, but we think that they may.
Listen, we need to get down to business here. PPG, HobbyDB, they are one of the largest resources to the Funko community. Work with them.
And the Funko app is shit.
Don't be stupid and look at eBay. eBay, look, I know they're really good at rubbing. What are they rubbing? They're rubbing on you in a very weird place. I know they're good at that, but let's look to PPG and HobbyDB because that is the main.
Oh, what we could do is just use both. Give people the option saying which price do you want, right? PPG or eBay.
I think we need to go PPG. Come on, Christian, what the fuck, man? Work with me here. What are you doing?
Yeah, but I think if they just maybe they have a legal obligation. If they should offer eBay and PPG and you can choose, I know people will use PPG because eBay doesn't even tell you where it comes from. We try to figure out what that pricing means, and we have no idea.
Heather, remind me to talk to Christian behind the scenes about marketing. We'll talk a little bit about it. I don't know. He's totally gone off the rails. I don't know what to say.
No, he's
Okay.
he's saying.
No, I know what he's
on
saying.
the
I know what he's
app
saying, but we
to-
need to say PPG
No,
is the place
right,
to go.
but he wants Funko to do an experiment because he's a scientist and he loves experiments, and he wants Funko to see that people are going to choose PPG prices all the time versus
to me. No,
eBay.
listen to me. You're misunderstanding everything. Fuck everything else. And I'm using the same language they use on HobbyDB PPG, by the way. They use the F word, and so it become free reign for me to say it. What I'm saying is that PPG is the place to go for Funko values. That's where you need to go. The Funko app sucks asshole. We've seen it.
It's awful.
I've seen it myself. It sucks horribly.
Hold on, really quick.
What?
I think this is the perfect moment. Andy B said, "Can we get one for old time's sake?" referring to it's trash. But first, I'd like to say, Andy, you can see us on Whatnot in 2025, and he will gladly say that at any point in time.
Right.
No, but right now is the time. What is the Funko app?
The Funko app is trash. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's horrible. We
Yes.
already know that. That's established.
It's
Yeah, it's very terrible. They're trying to do better. It's not good.
they're not
That's right.
trying really hard.
Yeah, it's not good. It looks like shit. PPG is the only place to go. And look, if you're a follower of us and you love Mischief Toys and all the things, right? And you want to do bigger business than what's offered at the free version, go and subscribe. I am certainly going to subscribe. I'm doing a whole year. $30 ain't shit. I mean, in the reality of it, $30 gets you a lot on HobbyDB and on Pop Price Guide. I think it's great. Personally,
I spend more on a monthly pedicure in 1 month.
we got petties yesterday. That's
We
all I'm
did.
saying. They clean my toes up like you've never seen before in your whole
And
life.
then I would spend on HobbyDB in a year.
Oh, 100%.
I spent more on boba this week than I would spend on
I don't
HobbyDB in
think
a
we
year.
need to talk about that.
I
mean, it's
did.
embarrassing. What
It
you're
is
saying.
embarrassing.
Okay, let's not embarrass us.
And I might be
What-
pre-diabetic. I don't know.
You
But-
probably are. But here's what I'm saying. PPG is a huge. It's one of the most important things when it comes to Funko collecting. I think right now is a time where PPG could really use the help. And I'm not speaking for Christian. I'm speaking from the behalf of Gassocast. They could use a lot of help right now. All Funko collectors who still love Funko products, and I'm not saying all of you still love Funko products. What I'm saying is if you love Funko products, go and subscribe. I would subscribe for a year, put your $30 in, and follow your good pal Chris. I would never steer you wrong, even though most of you aren't even watching the channel anymore. I would never steer you wrong. We want you to be on board. I think it's important. I think it's important for the community to back a service that has been around for free for so long.
I agree.
And all jokes aside, PPG has always been there for us when we collect our figures, for when we sell our figures. They're always there for us. They've always been a free service. Let's back them now. Like I said, if disc trackers and Funko Finders and all those guys aren't going to share and spread the love about this live here, that's on them. We
They might
talk.
not even know what's going on.
They
maybe.
know they're here. I'm telling you that
I
right
know-
now.
no,
they're here.
they
They're
normally announce.
They're turned up and they're tuned in.
No, they
But
normally
we
announce
need to
when
share
they're
this.
here.
We need to be a part of the larger community. I mean, really, I'm making jokes, but we're part of a larger community here. Let's be a part of it. Let's show our love for Pop Price Guide.
If it serves you to put your money there. Now, we are not saying that because Christian is here with us right now. Christian, we have so appreciated you being here and answering all these questions. And at the beginning of this live, you couldn't hear it. And I'm very sad you couldn't hear it because it was very well timed, in my opinion. It was probably honestly awkward because I'm very bad at jokes. But Chris had mentioned that our what did you call it? Our favorite collection tracker. And
Sure.
I said something like, maybe not anymore.
Yeah, Heather was being
But I said-
very shitty.
But I said, let's see how this interview goes first.
Right. No, it,
Yeah.
it, went, it went great. And Christian, you're always awesome. By the way, I'd like to remind everybody, and for those who may not know this, Christian, I'm almost positive, you could tell me if I'm right or wrong. One time you said, I don't know. But just go ahead and let's say yes to this. This is the first YouTube channel you ever came onto. I mean, he went live with. Is
Yeah.
that right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and he came on too. So
I posted in the comments.
yeah, exactly. See, we're the first YouTube channel that he came onto, Heather.
That's
And
pretty cool.
like you wouldn't believe. That is the coolest thing ever, in the fact that PPG aligned with Gasolcast.
I like
That's
that.
all I'm saying. Look, we started at a position, and we ended in a very good position. We switched positions a couple of times, but we're in a very good position now. I'm turned around. I'm looking back, and I'm saying, "Fuck yeah!" That's what I'm saying.
Great, thanks. And Heather, you'd like to know that the ad code is about a third of the page, so it loads much faster and it's much more condensed because there's no ads, so you can see more stuff and you can see it faster.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I hate ads.
Fuck ads. You know me, Heather. I don't like ads. Christian, really, you're the best. You really are. And if people aren't subscribing and seeing that beautiful face of yours, they're out of their fucking minds. I'm just telling you that right now. I like your use of the F word, even though I said it wasn't professional. It's very good. I like that you did that. Thank you. You're the best.
Thank you, guys.
And you're always welcome to come back right here on the channel. We love you, buddy. Really.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll
of
do it.
course. And let's talk about that Gasly, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. We'll see
Thanks,
you later.
Ed.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
disconnecting. Thank you. Bye. What a guy.
End the call, babe.
No, we're here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this. I really do. I'm not blowing smoke. I think this is really big for the community. Go to HobbyDB Pop Price Guide. Sign up for the subscription. I think it's important. What a great guy. Out of all the things, Christian has always been super full of information. And I really do believe that Christian only wants to help the collector.
He is
That's his drive.
very well. See, I'm not what
Well
he
hung.
is. Please fucking stop.
No, I thought that's what you were about to say.
You need to stop.
I thought that's where you're going.
He is very good at talking. He knows what
Very
he's
good.
saying.
Yes.
He knows how to answer things, and it's very much appreciated. And I came onto this live like I wasn't looking forward to it. I was like, I'm still like, I not that I don't look forward to talking to Christian. That's not what I mean. I looked forward to talking to Christian, but I didn't look forward to hearing the answers because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be on board with this. I don't think I'm gonna care. But being able to ask these questions and hear them from the source was very helpful. We appreciate you guys who have left feedback either for us in the comments section to read questions or, those of you who have posted stuff on social media with your reservations with this new price. I mean, we have gone from using something for free to having a cost associated with it, and it is weird. People don't like change. We pay for so much these days, but I feel like I've said this a lot recently. Everybody wants something that benefits them.
100%.
If it doesn't benefit them, then they're unhappy.
We can take the headphones off now, by the way.
Oh my God, thank goodness. But everybody wants something that benefits them. And if it doesn't benefit them, they complain about it. So, for example, no, that's a bad example. That's probably mean.
What were you going to say?
You
don't want to say it?
No,
Okay,
I don't
that's
want to
fine.
say it.
It's fine.
But people want the most for the smallest amount of money, and people will use something until it doesn't make sense for them, or it isn't free, or whatever. Most likely isn't. In this case, it isn't free. And
Yeah, they don't like the fact that it's no longer free. They got to pay for it, so everybody's up in arms.
Right.
I mean, I read all the comments on Dish Trackers,
so
right?
people want an ad-free website. He said that that's been like a pretty heavy complaint over the years. People did not like the ads. But then when you take away the ads, PPG isn't making the revenue for them to continue hosting this website the way that they do and keeping up with the price points the way that they do and implementing all these features that everybody's screaming, I want this. When can I do this with my collection? When can I do that? So I get it. I don't want to pay for things if I don't have to. If I had it my way, I would go to a 5-star restaurant and eat for free, but I can't do that because it ain't free.
I'm down with pizza, Heather, but that's fine. I understand. I get
It ain't free for them to make the food, right? So
it. True.
if they're hosting a website and people are complaining about certain things, but it costs them money to implement these certain things, how can they continue to run it without that support? And how do you get that support but from those people who are complaining about those things that PPG now has to pay for?
Right. Well, we have a couple comments. Kevin Piano says you guys are in the wrong seats, I guess, in terms of selling PPG to people.
No, you and I are flipped around. We're mirrored because we are hosting
literally.
in a different way.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Okay. Pop and Stock says, if PPG was more accurate, I would happily subscribe, but most of the Pops in my collection don't show sales for over 2 to 3 months. So at this point, I was already mainly relying on eBay sold. No, that's totally understandable. And, I think...
Hold on.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
I understand that. However, Christian showed us here tonight that there are ways to flag listings. And if there's ways to flag a listing and say, hey, this looks like a fake pop, PPG, I flagged this, can you please look into this? This is what I'm seeing. I would imagine that there would be some way to ask them, can you please add some sales?
So let me make a point to you about that.
Please do.
So you're basically asking somebody to subscribe for a service? That's like Netflix saying you have to subscribe to our service for Netflix, but then also tell us the shows that aren't very good.
I get it.
So you're basically having to do work in it. I guess that's the issue maybe here. Maybe that's not a very good what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a very I can't remember. Go ahead.
I would imagine that over time, with it being a paid service, they might find a more streamlined way into making things a bit more accurate, making sure that sales get seen. And maybe with the incentive of people having their showcase for free, maybe more people will sign up to be volunteers on PPG, which will in turn make these things
maybe
happen.
You can make it better.
Yeah, that is the hope. And while I understand that concern, I'd be curious. I wish you had brought that up when Christian was still here, because
Hold on, I'm going to try to do something here. I'm going to do some magic. Hold on. Okay, we're leaving the call. End call for everybody. Okay, they can still hear us. So
okay.
I'm going to move on, and I'm going to try to hide that. Can I hide this instead?
There we are.
There we are. Oh my God, we're back together again.
Okay, so
all right, go ahead. Sorry.
My question is there a way? Okay, so Craig Matthews said you can request current price points be added. Oh, so you can flag the item itself and request current price points be added. So
analogy. Thank you, Tech.
I would like to say that this is a community-based service, with there being volunteers from the different collectible communities. And again, this isn't just Funko collectors. He showed us somebody's page who had tracked, I think, like 1 Funko on that page, but that is adorable. They tracked 1 Funko Pop on that page and multiple collectibles that I had never seen before. So it's communities of people coming together to add these price points. So I think that with community support, they can in turn become better. And that might not even be in a monetary way. I'm not saying you have to pay the money to subscribe to PPG. What I'm saying is if you see something that hasn't been added, Craig just said that you can flag the product itself and say, hey guys, can you please add the most recent eBay sales or Mercari sales or whatever? I've noticed that the price hasn't been updated in a while, but there have been sales.
Yeah.
So, you know, in order to make HobbyDB better, because there are, I believe he said, over 1 million collectible
We got to be a better
items.
community.
Yeah, I think that it would be.
We got to do better by being a better community. But
Yeah.
but the issue is that you're paying for a service, and then now you're a part of the community to make things better.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem, is that you now have to put in work in which to make it better. Not everybody wants to do that. Would we do that? I can't speak for that, because maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. It depends on how busy my day is. You know, it's funny, that question comes from, what is it, Pop and Stock? And Pop and Stock is huge, frankly, when it comes to NFT Funko Pops. Like, it's all the NFT stuff, popandstock.com. So it's interesting that they're the ones kind of posing these questions, considering they're tracking so much data. Really good data, by the way. Popandstock.com is very good.
Yeah.
Really like them. Really like what they do. Really good folks. But yeah, I feel like this live was a good one. I feel like we got a lot of answers. It's funny because you would expect the turnout to be like really large, but obviously our voice can only go so far. Our reach only goes so far. I'm sure there's a lot of people here that would love to know what Christian had to say for Pop Price Guide. So if you know somebody out there who may or may not have seen this live, reach out to them and ask them, and then send them the link to this live, and let them know that a lot of answers got, or a lot of questions got answered. And I think this is a really good session with Christian. We haven't done this in a long time with Christian. In fact, I don't even know if we've done it in this house with Christian, live with him. It's been a long time.
I think we may have once.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
But yeah, so definitely send it all to your friends. I do want to mention that we do have the hoodies up on mischieftoys.com right now. You will see emails throughout the week telling you about those hoodies. Go and buy yours, pre-order yours now.
On mischieftoys.com, we
Yep.
did have a very good question. Brian asks, great PPG info tonight, but let's get to the real headline. Where's Mortem? Brian, more information to come. He is coming very, very soon. You'll definitely want to keep up with mischieftoys.com newsletter, because we will have the most up-to-date information there. He is coming sooner than you guys can even imagine.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome. We are so excited to debut him. He is amazing.
Tony LaFond, what is Mischief Monday's topic? Favorite figure. So we'll put out something this evening. Favorite figure, and we will be announcing the August winner this week. And the reason why we haven't yet is because we have been incredibly busy trying to get our warehouse situated for a brand new shipment. We're getting all sorts of stuff this week from our manufacturer. It's been a long time coming. We are probably going to overfill our warehouse. It's going to be absolutely insane. If you're a Mischief Toys fan, expect some really crazy stuff coming from Mischief Toys over the next couple of months. New York Comic Con stuff is showing up. So expect it for New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con is like coming so fast.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely talk a lot more about it as time gets closer. We'll probably have a live or two specific to New York Comic Con and Mischief Toys.
100%.
It's going to be amazing. We are so excited. But for now, we've been here for over 2 hours.
One Shot Customs, yes, it'll be a New York Comic Con. We will be there in person, and we will be with all the big boys for the very first time ever. We are not in the middle of nowhere at New York Comic Con. We are over like next to like the bigger toy companies like Funko. It's going to be a super crazy year for Mischief Toys. As Heather mentioned, more to come about that. It's going to be incredible. Night of Mischief as well. Crazy as hell. It's going to be great. But thank you, everybody. We appreciate all of you for being here, for hanging out with us, for talking to us, asking good questions. I hope we asked all your questions here tonight. If we didn't, You can leave your hate comments on Top Pop's videos and let him know how much you hated how Castlecast handled this. Thank you, as a joke, by the way. MischiefToys.com, buy your DIY Ghastlies, buy your brand new hood or pre-order your hoodies. And we also have a bunch of Mischief Toys shirts over there that we have never, or that we haven't put up on the website. They've been sort of stored away in the back room for a very long time. So go buy your shirts and hats now. They're all available. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
By the way, go watch our new video. It's a Hot Toys video with Max and I. It's a blast. Please watch it. Please comment. Please like. My kid loves seeing all the feedback from our videos. Please, please, please. It's a free Batmobile video. Go and watch it now. He will appreciate you in a big way. Love you guys. See ya.
Bye.